AOPS Volume 1, the basics, number 83. Country A has C% of the population and owns D% of the world's wealth. Country B has E% of the world's population, F% of the world's wealth. Assume that the citizens of A share the wealth of A equally and that those of B share the wealth of B equally. Find the ratio of the wealth of a citizen of A to the wealth of a citizen of B. So we need to assume some quantities here, and we need to assume the total population of this world, which is X, and the total wealth of this world, which is Y. And the reason why we need to do this is because we have percentages. We need to find the definition of the percentage out of a quantity, in this case, population and wealth. So within country A, it owns C% of the population. So how do we translate that? Well, that is CX over 100. This comes straight out of the definition for the percentage. And that is the population. And we have D% of the world's wealth, which is DY over 100. And it tells us that all the citizens share the wealth equally. So how much wealth does each person get? So we need to find it in terms of wealth per person. Therefore, we need to find it dy over 100 times 100 over cx, or in other words, dy over 100 wealth divided by population to get this, which is the same thing as dy over cx. And notice why I didn't divide dy over 100 with cx over 100, because then we will get population per wealth, and that wouldn't make any sense. The only thing that makes sense is wealth per person, and that is what we need to find. We need to find the ratio of the wealth of a citizen. So we need to find wealth per person in country A and country B. Hence, that's how I did it. And we do the same thing for country B. So if I do it here, it tells us country B has E% of the world's population, that's EX over 100, and it owns F% of the world's wealth, so that is FY over 100. So what is the wealth per person within country B? Well, that is just Fy over 100 divided by Ex over 100, which is the same thing as Fy over 100 times 100 over Ex, which is the same thing as Fy over Ex. That is the wealth per person in country B. And we need to find the ratio of this between A and B. So wealth of A per person divided by the wealth of B per person would be the same thing as dy over Cx times Ex over Fy after we divide them and do inverse the proportions, which will result in dE over CF. And the reason why that's so, because y and y cancel and x cancel to remain with this ratio, the solution to our question.